everybody, welcome back to my channel. You are here because you have seen the thumbnail and you have also seen the opening of the video, so you know we're going to be making a children's cardigan or a coat. Okay, so first I'm going to take you through of what we're going to need for this. I've got this beautiful box that my sister made me for Christmas, so now I've got all my project things in here. So we're gonna need wool. I'm gonna be using this one from Woolcraft. It's a double knitting yarn and it comes with the color cappuccino. Okay, I've gone very chocolate with this project, and we're going to be using this color as well. So this color is called mocha, but it's the same wool. We're also going to need buttons. Okay, I'm not 100% sure yet for the one I'm making now how many buttons I'm going to need, but I'm looking to use about 5 of them, and as you can see these are very beautiful as they've got different motifs on, and it says handmade with love, and I think they're going to look very pretty with our yarn and with this one as well, because they're going to stay on this. Okay, so we're going to be needing those. So I do like these buttons, they're very pretty. I got them on Etsy. We are also going to need scissors. So I've got these ones, they cut very well, that's why I've got them, and a 4mm hook which I'm going to be using today. Again, depending on how tight you are crocheting, you might choose to do 4mm, you might want to do slightly bigger or maybe slightly smaller as well. Okay, also you're going to need a yarning needle to tie in your ends and some stitch markers. Again, stitch markers are very optional. I do like to use them because I do listen to podcasts and things and I'm very easily distracted, so I do need to use them. Okay, so I'm going to just move that to the side and show you the pattern that we're going to be making and how we're going to start it. Okay, so I'm going to be making a cardigan for a child age 18 to 24 months, and these are the dimensions forward, and these are all in centimeters. Okay, now if you're struggling converting centimeters and inches, a very easy thing to do is just to grab your tape measure, which you're going to need for this project, and then if you turn it on the other side, it does have inches, so you can actually use that as a guidance. Okay, so these are the dimensions. Now you might want to choose the smaller yoke, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and you can choose to do a jacket or cardigan for a child or a baby 12 to 18 months, or maybe an older toddler 2 to 3 years old. This is totally up to you. Okay, so these are the 2 yokes that I've got. I'm going to be making this one, which is the larger one, so I'm going to be chaining 83 plus 1, and these are the chains that we're going to have at each section, and 1 at the corner for the V-stitch. Okay, if you want to do a smaller cardigan, you might want to use the smaller yoke, which is 77 chains, startup chains plus 1, and these are the dimensions. I'm just going to leave this one for a moment so you can have a look, and maybe you can pause the video as well. Okay, this is the pattern that we're going to be making, and I know sometimes this doesn't make sense to a lot of you, but I'm going to just try to explain. So these are going to be our starting chain. After the starting chain, we're going to have a chain of half double crochets. Okay, then we're going to have a chain of double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to have a chain of, well, this is going to be a pattern chain, and it's just going to alternate between double crochet and either front post or back post double crochet, and after that the pattern repeats itself, so we're going to have half double crochet, and so on. Okay, these are some of the V-stitches. Again, it's just my scribbles, it makes sense in my head, but I'm going to guide you through this video and we can do this project together. Okay, to start on this project, what we'll need is a starting chain, and for this project that I'm making, I'm going to need 84. So we're going to start with the first chain, if you like, the starting chain. So insert your hook underneath that first sort of loop, pick up the second one, okay, and then just pull, okay, and pull that tail, and it's going to tighten that little loop there. Okay, so to start this, yarn over, pull through, and you've got your first chain there. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. We've got 3. Okay, continue making chains until you have 84, and I'm going to meet you once we all have 84 chains. So I've made 84 chains, as you can see. Okay, and then we are ready to start with our first row. Our first row will consist of half double crochets. Okay, so we're going to skip that first chain on the hook, and in the second chain from the hook we're going to make a half double crochet. To do that, we have to yarn over, insert your hook into that second loop like so, yarn over, pull through, and now we've got 3 loops on our hook. Okay, yarn over and pull through all 3. Okay, so go ahead and place the stitch marker in there if you choose to use stitch markers. Again, if you've got the stitch markers and you want to use these ones, that's totally up to you. If, for example, you don't have a stitch marker, what you can do is you can use like a leftover yarn, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Let me just make another one next to it so I can show you better on how you can use a leftover yarn as a stitch marker. Okay, and then in this first chain, what you can do is, if you insert your yarn needle there, you can just put a leftover yarn, okay, through it like so, and there you have it. You can use that as a stitch marker. You don't actually have to buy these specifically for it. Okay, so I'm going to place my stitch marker. Okay, and I've done my second one as well. So what we are doing is we are doing the first section. Okay, so I'm just going to remind you of the first section, of all the sections really. So I'm making this yoke, which means that the first section will have 12 half double crochets, then we're going to have a V-stitch for the corner, then 15, then a V-stitch, then 25 V-stitch, 15 V-stitch, and we're going to end with 12. Okay, so this is the yoke we are making. Don't worry about this little gap, because that's where we're going to have our border for the button, so we will fill that in later. Okay, so for now we are making 15 half double crochets before we do the 12 before we do the V-stitch. Okay, so we've got 2, so we need to do 10 more. So just to show you again, yarn over, insert the hook into that chain there, yarn over, pull through. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then pull through all 3. Okay, so go ahead and make 12 half double crochets. Okay, and then I'm going to meet you once you have 12, and we're going to make the V-stitch together. So I've made 11 half double crochets. Okay, so I'm just going to make my 12th into that stitch there, and now we need to make a V-stitch, okay, into that next stitch. To make a V-stitch, we're going to make a half double crochet like we've been making so far. Okay, chain 1, okay, and into this same stitch here we're going to make another half double crochet, okay, and then I'm just going to make a half double crochet into the next chain just to show you how I work has curved. So now we've got a corner, and I hope you can see that. Okay, so that's a corner there, this one here. Okay, the next section you're gonna need 15 half double crochets. Okay, so you're gonna do 15 half double crochet, you're gonna do another V-stitch, then 25 a V-stitch, then another 15 a V-stitch, and you're gonna finish with another 12 half double crochets. So go ahead and make that, and I'm gonna meet you at the end of this row, and we're gonna start row 2 together. I'm coming to the end of row 1, so I've got 2 stitches left, so let's do the half double crochets together into the last 2 stitches, and then we're gonna start row 1. Okay, so I've come to the end of row 1. I'm just going to tighten this tail a little bit. You're going to do the same if it's come a little bit looser, doesn't matter, we're going to tie the tails later. Okay, and then we're going to chain 2. Okay, now your chain 2 is not going to count as a stitch, so the only time we're going to count that as a stitch is when we come to do the sleeves, but I'm going to tell you about it when we do the sleeves. For now, this is not going to count as a stitch. Okay, so go ahead and turn your work. Okay, so let's start row number 2. Row number 2 is an easy peasy one because it does have double crochets all around plus your V-stitches. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook into that first stitch. So the first stitch is where this chain is coming from, so that's this one here. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's this one here. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook into that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and there you have it. Okay, so go ahead and pop in a stitch marker there. As I said, this chain 2 is not going to count as a stitch for the body of your cardigan. Okay, let's do another double crochet in the stitch next to it. Yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull through. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So go ahead and make double crochets all around that section until you reach this V-stitch here. Just before you reach the V-stitch, I'm going to meet you there. We're going to finish this section together, we're going to do the V-stitch together, and then you can continue with your work. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of that section. I've got 2 stitches left before the V-stitch, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the 2 remaining double crochets. Okay, so for this section you should have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 double crochets. The reason why you're having 13 is because in the previous row, remember, we added 2 more stitches on either side for the V-stitch. So the V-stitches do add stitches to your work. Okay, so now we're up to the V-stitch in this chain 1 space, and in the chain 1 space we're going to do another V-stitch, but this time we're going to make it with double crochet. So go ahead and make your first double crochet, chain 1, and then another double crochet into that chain space. Okay, and there you have it, you've made another V-stitch, and that's continuing to turn your work. Okay, So from now on, continue making double crochets for the next section. So this is the arm section. Okay, now remember we had 15 half double crochets in here, but because it's got two sides with a V-stitch, it's adding 2, which means for this side you're going to have 17 double crochets, and obviously you have to do the V-stitch, then you're going to do the back, a V-stitch, and so on. And I'm going to meet you once you're at the end of that work. We're going to finish that together, and we're going to start row number 3 together, which is going to be our pattern row. I'm coming to the end of row 2. I've got 2 stitches left, so I'm just going to put a double crochet into each one to finish that row. Just going to pull out the stitch marker there, and we're going to just finish this row into that last stitch. Okay, and go ahead and chain 2. Okay, and turn your work. As I said before, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Okay, so this is your first row of the pattern. Okay, so for row 3, what we'll do is we're going to do a double crochet. So every pattern row will start with a double crochet. Okay, so go ahead and place your stitch marker there. Okay, so for this row 3, okay, will consist of double crochets and front post double crochets. So we've done our first double crochet there. Now we need to make a front post double crochet. To make a front post double crochet, you yarn over, okay, insert your hook at the back of this pillar here, okay, like so. Okay, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and this is going to give you this beautiful pillar effect there. Okay, so we're going to do a double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, and then right after it, in this pillar here, we're going to make another front post double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook at the back of that pillar like so, yarn over, pull through, okay, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and then we're going to do a double crochet just after it. Okay, and this is the pattern that you're going to be following along this row. Okay, and I'm going to meet you, start doing this pattern. I'm going to meet you once you're close to the V-stitch, and then we're going to finish this section together, do the V-stitch, and then you can continue on this work on your own. I've come to the last stitch. If you're doing the same yoke as me, you should be the same as I am, which means that you're going to finish this section with a front post double crochet. Okay, and now we've come to the V-stitch there, okay, which means that we're going to do another V-stitch, the same as the row before, which will consist of a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet into that same stitch. Okay, now we've made another V-stitch, so your work should look something like this. Okay, now to start the next section, you're going to start it the same way you end the previous section. So we ended the previous section with a front post double crochet, which means that's how we're going to start this section. So we're going to go ahead and make a front post double crochet, followed by a double crochet into that next stitch. Okay, and then front post double, double, and so on. You should end this section with a front post double crochet, which means that the next section, well, it's actually there, the next section is going to start with the front post double, and so on. Okay, so keep on doing row number 3. I'm gonna meet you once you're finished or nearly finished with that row, and then we can finish that together and start on row 4. We are coming to the end of row 3. Okay, and I'm gonna just finish it with front post double crochet. Okay, I'm gonna pop out the stitch marker, and I'm gonna place a double crochet at the end. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly show you what your work should look like now. Okay, so your yoke should be done now. Okay, and it should have, well, it's not completely finished, but it should have the shape, and you should start to see the pattern that we are making. Okay, so chain 1, okay, and turn your work. Okay. Row 5 and 6 are just a repeat of row 1 and 2. Okay, so you're gonna do half double crochet. Please remember to do the V stitches like we've done so far. Okay, all the way. You're gonna chain 2 and you're gonna do the double crochet row. So go ahead and repeat rows 1 and 2, and I'm gonna meet you once you're at row 6 to show you the next pattern row. As you can see, I have done my 2 rows, the half double crochet and the double crochet row. So I'm coming to the end, so I've got 3 stitches left. So let's finish this row together. This is row 5 of just double crochets. So I hope you've done yours as well. I'm going to pop out the stitch marker and just do a double crochet there. And I'm going to chain 2 and turn your work. So we are up to a row number 6. So row number 6 is very similar to row 3 where we did the pattern, but this time instead of doing front post double crochets, we're going to be doing back post. Okay, now if you would like your pattern to be one column after the other, you're gonna mirror that row 3, which means you're gonna do a double crochet and then back post double straight after, because that's what we did on row 3. If you would like these pillars to be on one row like this and then the other row to go in between, then follow me, because that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so just to reiterate, if you want the pillars to be horizontal down, you need to do 1 double crochet and then back post double. If you would like the pillars to go on one row like this and then the next row to go in between, you're going to need to do 2 double crochet and then back post. So let me show you how we're going to do that. We're going to start with a double crochet into that first stitch there, and go ahead and pop in your stitch marker back. Okay, we're going to do another double crochet in the stitch next to it, and now we're going to do a back post double crochet into that column there, into this one here. Okay, now this time we're gonna go from the back. Okay, insert your hook like so, pick up that pillar like this, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to do a normal double crochet into that next stitch. Let's do that again. Go from the back, pick up that column there like so, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and a normal double crochet into the stitch after. So you're gonna follow this pattern all the way to the V-stitch, and I'm gonna meet you once we are at the end of that section there towards the V-stitch, and we're gonna go and make the V-stitch together, and then you can continue that pattern all the way afterwards. Okay, so I'm coming to the V-stitch. I've got one stitch left there. Okay, and I've done my normal double crochet there, which means I need to finish with a back post double crochet. Now, depending on whether you've done the bigger yoke or the smaller yoke, yours might finish with a normal double crochet. Regardless of what you finish, you're going to do the V-stitch the same, which is going to be a double crochet, just the same as we've done before, chain 1 and another double crochet into that same stitch. Now this is very important to remember, that whatever you've finished that section with, so I finished with a back post double crochet there, that's what you need to start the next section with. Okay, so if you finished with a normal double crochet, you're going to start the next section with a normal double crochet. If you finished with a back post double crochet, you're going to start the next section with a back post double crochet. Okay, and then you're going to just follow that pattern all the way to the end of this row. So I'm coming to the end of row 6. As you can see, I've got 2 stitches left where I'm going to put my normal double crochet. So this is the mirror image on how we've started row 6, and you're going to do the same. I'm going to chain 1. I'm quickly going to pull my yarn out because I want to show you what our yoke looks like now. Okay, so your yoke should take shape, and you should be able to see the patterns now that we've been making. Okay, at the moment my yoke size is about 7 centimeters there. For the size that I'm making, and I'm making this cardigan for 18 to 24 months, I need a yoke that is 14 centimeters, so I basically need to double mine. If you're making the smaller yoke, you might need 13 or 12, or if you're making a slightly bigger, you might need 15 centimeter yoke. Okay, so these are in centimeters. So I need to double my yoke. Now you've got the 6 row repeat. So what happens next is we're gonna turn our work, and we're gonna start basically from row 1, which is the half double crochet. Then we're gonna do a double crochet row, and then the row with the front post double crochets, and then it's the half double crochet row, and then the row with the back post double crochet. So continue with that pattern until you have your desired size yoke, and I'm gonna meet you once we all have our yokes to the size that we need, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna proceed from then, and how we're gonna connect our corners in order to form the openings like that. Now I would recommend you to complete this part of the project either with the row of half double crochets or be at the row of double crochets, because it's going to be easier to connect the corners then. It's going to be a little bit trickier to do it if you are on the pattern row. Okay, so just bear that in mind when you are doing your crochet, and meet me back once our project is a little bit bigger, and we're going to connect them and move on to the second part of our project. Okay everybody, so I'm coming to the end of this is row 12 now. I'm gonna just take my stitch marker off and do my last double crochet, and then we're gonna have a look at our work. Oops, we're gonna have a look at our work so far. Just gonna chain 2 and pull. So your work on the wrong side should look something like this. Okay, and then if we flip it on the right side, it should look like this. You should be able to see all these different patterns now forming, and your yoke should be bigger. I'm gonna stop with doing my yoke now because I've got my desired size. So if I measure it on the side, I just want to show you here, you're gonna see that I've got 13 and a bit centimeters, which is perfect because my next row is gonna take me to 14 centimeters, and that's the size of yoke that I need for the cardigan that I'm making. So actually I'm at the row with half double crochet, so I'm just going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. So this is the row where we're going to connect the 2 V-stitches. So this V-stitch is going to be connected to the next V-stitch because we want to make the arm opening. Okay, so I'm at the half double crochet row. So if you're at the half double crochet, keep on doing that. You might be at the double crochet rows, but that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna start making the half double crochet, or maybe if you are at the double crochet row, keep on making those until you get to the V-stitch. I'm gonna meet you just before the V-stitch, and then we're gonna connect those 2 together. So I'm at the end of that section. I've got 2 stitches left until I'm at the V-stitch. So I'm gonna go ahead and make 2 half double crochets in there, and now I'm at the V-stitch. What that means for this row is that we need to connect this V-stitch to the next V-stitch, okay, which is there. How are we going to do that? We're going to split this on 2. If you remember when we were doing the V-stitches, we did, for example, half double crochet, chain 1 and another half double crochet. So we're going to do similar, but we're going to split one half on this V-stitch and the other one on the next V-stitch. So let's do that together and I'll show you how. So we're going to do half double crochet in here, don't chain 1, follow your work until your next half double crochet. So you need to make sure that when you connect them, they're actually following the same side. Okay, so if I was going to crochet normally, I would go this way, okay, and so on, and I will continue like so, which means that's how we need to flip the work, and that's where we're going to connect it. Okay, so we've done the half double crochet in that V-stitch, so let's do the other half double crochet in this V-stitch here, which means we're gonna yarn over and just do a half double crochet in there without the chain 1, so don't chain 1. And that's pretty much it. And now we're gonna continue making our half double crochet, or if you are the double crochet rows, do exactly the same but with double crochet. Okay, I would recommend you to connect the V-stitches once you are either on the half double crochet row or the double crochet row, because that's going to be the easiest thing to do. Because if you're on the pattern row, you're going to have to match the pattern as well, so it's going to be a little bit harder. So don't do that, don't make life harder for yourself. So just either do it on a half double crochets or the double crochets, easy peasy. And yeah, keep on crocheting until you reach the next V-stitch. Just before you reach the next V-stitch, I'm going to meet you here, and we're going to connect the next 2 V-stitches together and finish this row. I'm at the end of this section now, and I've come to the next V-stitch, which should be connected to the last and 4th V-stitch. So let's just get to the V-stitch now. So I've just got 2 half double crochets to do. Okay, and I'm at the V-stitch. Same thing as before, we're going to do it half and half, which means I'm going to do the half double crochet in this V-stitch, not going to chain 1. I'm going to find the next V-stitch and I'm going to follow this side. Okay, flip it over like that to make that opening, and I'm going to do the next V-stitch into the last V-stitch, which is just here. And that's all there is to it. And now all I have to do is just to finish the last section and finish this row. And we're going to have a look at our work, and I'm going to take you through the next few rows, because at some point we're going to have to do an increase as well. So keep crocheting until you reach the end of this row, and I'm going to meet you towards the end. We're going to finish this row together and we're going to start the next one. So I'm coming to the end of that section now. All I'm left to do is to do 2 half double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and pop out the stitch marker and do a half double crochet there. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm just going to pull my yarn so I can show you what our work looks like. Okay, so work looks like this. Now you can see that you've made the arm openings on either side, and our top part of our jacket is nearly there. Okay, what we need to work on is the body of our jacket. So next thing what we'll do is we'll do a couple of rows just following the pattern. So for example, for me, that's going to be the double crochet row, and then I'm going to do the pattern row, and I'm going to meet you when you're on a half double crochet row. It's important that we meet when you're on a half double crochet row, because we're going to do increases. So if you are, for example, here on a double crochet row, go ahead and do the pattern row after and meet me when you're on a half double crochet. If you're on the half double crochet row, then you have to do the double crochets and the pattern row, and then meet me when you're back on the half double crochets. And I'm gonna talk you through on how we're gonna do the increases, and then we're gonna continue on with our work afterwards. So I'm coming at the end of that pattern row. I'm going to finish it with a double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, and now I'm at the double half double crochet row. So this is the row where we're going to do increase. You're going to do the increases just under the armhole, which is going to be this chain here. So if you actually have a look at, so that's my armhole where we connected the V-stitches, and just see which one goes just underneath. So that's going to be this one. Now if you want to go ahead and put a stitch marker there, just so you know, you can do that, but if you feel you're going to remember, you don't need to. It's totally up to you. Okay, So go ahead and do your half double crochets, and I'm gonna meet you here where we're gonna do the increase together, and then I'm gonna talk you through what's gonna happen on the next row. I'm near my stitch marker. This is where I need to do the increase. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my last half double crochet before the stitch marker, and I'm gonna take the stitch marker off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put one half double crochet in that stitch there and another half double crochet into that same stitch, and you go ahead and do the same, and that's our increase. We're going to put the stitch marker where the first stitch, where we made the first stitch of that increase, because on the next row, which is going to be the row of double crochets, in that space you're going to make another increase. This row will have 2 increases, one under each armhole, so that's the first one. Once you get to just below the armhole on the other side, you're going to make another increase. Then you're going to do the half double crochet, and you're going to make an increase there and another increase there. So you're going to need those 2 rows of increase, because we want the pattern to flow. If you just do 1 row of increase and then start doing your pattern row, it's just going to mess it all up. Okay, so this row is going to have an increase, and then the next row is going to have increase, and then you're going to come to the pattern row, and the pattern will just flow like it has been. And then you're going to continue working on your pattern until you have your desired length of your cardigan. These are the sizes that I've got. So I'm looking for my sleeve to be around 22 centimeters. So the length of my cardigan will be roughly 23-24 centimeters. But as I said, it's your cardigan, so you can do the length however long you want it, or short. Keep crocheting, and I'm going to meet you once you've got your finished length, and then we're going to start on our sleeves together. Keep crocheting, and don't forget about your increases. So guys, as you can see, I have completed the length of my jacket, and I have also made the first sleeve, but that's just to show you. Now it's time to do the sleeves. So I have done my sleeve in 2 different colors, as you can see. So we've got the original color, and I've done this lovely little edge here with a different color, and this is the one I showed you at the beginning, and this is what we're gonna do for the sleeve on the other side. Now, 2 things when it comes to the sleeve really. If you want to do this the same as I've done, I'm going to show you how to do it, but you don't have to. You can just leave it like so, and maybe do like a little simple edging if you like, but again, that's totally up to you. So we're gonna do the sleeve. The sleeves need to continue with the pattern that we have been making so far. So let's begin. To start the rows, we need to identify what's the row that is coming next. So for mine, as you can see, I've ended up on the pattern row there, which means now I have to start on a half double crochet row. Now if you actually look at your work, you're gonna notice, because one row half double crochet, we do it on the right side, the other half double crochet we do it on the wrong side. Okay, so the patterns for them are slightly different. Now you need to do the pattern that is next. So you need to find out if you've been working on the wrong side or on the right side as a last row, because then you need to continue on the opposite side of what you've stopped. Okay, Now, if you can't remember that, the easiest thing to do is to just start your work and have a look. How we're going to start the work? We're going to start it with just a starting chain like so. Okay, I'm just going to pull on that, and we're going to insert our hook just underneath the arm opening there. Okay, and just pull it through and chain 1. Now I had 42 stitches on my first sleeve that I made, and that's what I'm going to do here. Please remember to just write down how many stitches you're going to do all around, because you want to mirror that on the other sleeve, so you don't want them to be different. So now I'm at the half double crochets row, and I'm just gonna, please make sure, another thing I totally forgot, is that when you chain 1, this will count as a half double crochet. So for the sleeves, any chains 1 or 2 that you do will count as a stitch. So this will count as a stitch. And I'm gonna just start my half double crochets. You can actually see the stitches here, so if you actually move your work like so, they're very easily identifiable, I think. So keep crocheting, and then I'm going to show you how you're going to see if you're on the right side or the wrong side. Okay, I'm just going to yarn over, I'm just going to crochet over that tail because I want to hide it now. The one it's sticking out. So I'm going to do a few more of these, and I'm going to show you what the difference is. Oops. Okay. There we go. I'm going to pull my yarn. Now you can see this is on the right side, and you can see the stitches there. Okay. When we're on the wrong side, we get this little, what should we call it, like a little line of stitches that you can see. When we're on the right side, they look like this. So please make sure that you are on the right side when you start the sleeve. Once you've started a sleeve, you're going to follow the pattern that we've been doing all along the cardigan. However, you're going to remember that once we get to our chain here, we're going to slip stitch it, then we're going to chain 2, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to continue the work on the opposite side. Okay, so keep crocheting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet you once I'm near the end of this row, and I'm going to show you how that is done. So I'm coming to the end of that row of half double crochets. I've got 42, the same as the other sleeve. So now I'm just going to slip stitch it to that chain, the first chain that I've made, and I'm going to chain 2. Now I'm going to turn my work. Sorry, the cardigan is getting a little bit bigger. I'm going to turn my work like so. We're going to count this as a double crochet, and I'm going to continue with my work of double crochets. Okay, so I'm going to do 42 double crochets all around. Once I reach the end, I'm going to connect my work with slip stitch to that chain 2 that I've just made. I'm going to chain another 2, and I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to do my pattern row. This is the pattern you're going to follow all along the sleeves. So there's no increases, there's no decreases for the sleeves until we actually reach almost the end to do this part together. So go ahead continue making your sleeve however long you need your sleeve to be. Now you can make it full sleeve like mine. You might want to do sort of like 3/4 maybe, or even half a sleeve, or you might want to continue and do it the full length like I have. Keep on making your sleeve, and I'm gonna meet you here to show you how we're gonna finish this and how we're gonna do this lovely end. As you can see, I have completed my sleeve now. I'm just literally at the last stitch there, and they're both the same size. I would encourage you to use a tape measure to measure them, but also to follow the patterns. I mean, we are making a pattern, so it's very easy to see if you've got the right amount of rows on both sleeves. As a guidance, I have made, I'm just quickly gonna measure it and show you. So this is 18 centimeters, okay, before I start making the end, and the completed sleeve is about 22.5 centimeters, which is fine. That's the size that's the length that I need for my sleeves. Next thing that we're going to do is connect the different color yarn on this sleeve, and I'm going to be using this chocolatey one. This is called Mocha. Again, you've got the option, if you would like to use a different color, by all means you can, and you can just follow me. We'll do the same. You might want to stick to your original color. You might want your cardigan to be all one color, and that is fine as well. You do you. So it's your cardigan, you're making it, and you can make it however you want to make it. Now, you might also find that you might not like this, and that is fine. If you want to leave it like this, you might want to have a wider opening. Just make sure that your sleeve is the desired length. You might want to do like maybe different edging. That is totally up to you. I'm going to show you how to do this and how to connect the different color yarn to this. So let's finish this, connect the different color, and do the end so they can match before we move on to the collar or the hood. So I'm going to show you two ways. Okay, let's do that. First things first, I will need to finish the last row with a slip stitch. As you can see, my last row was worked on the wrong side. So if I, oops, I've actually undone my last double crochet. So let me just put that back in. Okay. As you can see, if I connect this with a slip stitch and then connect my different color, the tail from this different color will be on the right side, and that's not what I want, because even when you hide it, sometimes you can see sort of like little bits, especially if it's a different contrasting color. So I would ideally like to connect this from the inside. So what I'm going to do, I've already cut my yarn, the cream one. So what I'll do is I'll turn it on the right side like so. I'm going to insert my hook into that first chain of the row and insert it into this last loop that I've just made for my last double crochet. And rather than use the cream one, I'm going to use the chocolatey color. Before I do, I'm just going to make the starting chain like so. I'm going to tighten it up, and I'm just going to slip stitch it like so, and I'm going to chain 2. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie those 2 on the back. So I'm not doing a knot or anything like that. I'm just literally doing this because I don't want them to interfere or come loose. I'm going to tidy those up later on. How are we going to do this? Okay, we're going to do a double crochet in here. Now this will very much depend on what you've got. Now if this is your front post that you have here, then you're going to do the 3 together that I'm going to show you in a minute. But because I've got a normal double crochet here, I'm going to move in right there and make a double crochet. So if you've got a double crochet, just make that double crochet. If you've got front post, then do what I'm doing now. So when we have the front post double crochets, we're gonna do 3 together with those 3 stitches. Okay, so how we're gonna do it, we're gonna do a front post, yarn over, pull through 2. So don't finish that, we're gonna yarn over and go into the next loop, which is your normal double crochet, yarn over, pull through 2. So now you've got 3 loops on your hook, and now we've got the third, which is a front post double. So yarn over, insert your hook at the back of that post, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. Next, you're going to have a normal double crochet, so go ahead and make the normal double crochet. Now you've come to the front post double crochet again, so you're going to repeat what we've just done. So do a front post double, but just don't finish it, so go halfway, then yarn over, do a normal double crochet, but again don't finish it, just go halfway, and another front post, don't finish it, just go halfway. Make sure you've got 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, and again you've got another double crochet, so go ahead and make the double crochet, and so on. Okay, so you're gonna be doing 3 together when you get to the front post all the way to the end. Now at the end on my pattern, I forgot to tell you, if you want to put a stitch marker here, by all means put a stitch marker. I actually can't find any, don't know where they've disappeared, but if you need a stitch marker, please put it there. Now on mine I had 42 stitches on my sleeves, so I'm gonna be doing 3 together for these 3. So these ones here, we're going to be 2 together, and then as you can see, I don't have another pattern like this, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a normal double crochet and a front post. So that's how my rows are going to be finishing. So if you don't have another one to follow the pattern like this, just do them as you would normally do. So you're going to follow the front post, and then you're going to follow a double crochet if you've got that. I hope that makes sense. What I'm going to do is when I come to here, I'm going to meet you back so I can actually show you. As you can see, I'm coming to the last of my clusters, so I'm going to do those 3 together. So the front post, I'm going to start it, don't finish it. The normal double crochet, again do it halfway, and next to it is another front post double. Again, you should have 4 loops on your hook and just pull through all 4. So the next one, I've got a normal double crochet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna finish it with my last front post double. So as you can see, I haven't actually connected them together because they're the last ones, so I don't have this cluster like I did before, and I'm just gonna slip stitch that. Oops, okay, slip stitch it, and I'm gonna chain 2. So I would encourage you this time to actually count how many of these you have, and just compare them to the other sleeve if you've done the other sleeve as well, because you want to have the same number. You don't want your sleeves to be different, but this is a good point when you can count them. Okay, I should have just chained one really, because I'm gonna do this front post. So this is what I'm gonna start my rows with. So that's gonna be my front post double crochet. And again, if you would like to put a stitch marker there, by all means you can. I actually found one, so I can just pop it in there. And then I've got my normal double crochet, which I'm going to do that. And you're going to continue this pattern until you've got the desired length. We've come to this cluster when we did the 3 together. So this is going to be your front post double. So you're going to insert your hook underneath there to pick up that column, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to have your normal double crochet afterwards, and then another front post double, again inserted at the back of that column when you did the 3 together, and do a front post double. So you're going to follow this all around your sleeve. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet you once we are coming towards the end of that row. We're going to finish that together, and we're going to start the next row again together, and I'm going to leave you to finish the length of your sleeve, and then we're going to look at the collar. So I have come to the end of that row. I have made my last double crochet, so I'm at this front post and my stitch marker. So I'm going to take my stitch marker off. I'm going to put a slip stitch on that first chain there, and I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to pull my yarn so I can show you. So this is what the work should look like now. As you can see, our sleeve is significantly, the opening for our sleeve is significantly less, but if you actually compare it, we are coming to this size here. Trust the process, guys, that's all I'm gonna say, and keep crocheting. It will get a little bit more smaller and it will come to the same size as the other one. So if you're worried about that, please don't. Another thing that I'm gonna say is, at the moment it doesn't look like they're gonna be the same at all. Again, trust the process. Yes, there will be. So you're gonna continue this pattern for however many rows you're gonna be making. It just depends on the size of the sleeve that you're doing. Please make sure that when you do both sleeves that they're both the same. So I've got 5 rows on mine, so I've done 2 already, so I'm going to do 3 more. Again, I'm going to double check them to make sure that they're both the same. So you do the same. Please make sure that you follow that pattern. So you're going to have 1 double crochet, 1 front post double, so that's going to be front post double, double crochet, front post double, and so on all around. And I'm going to meet you when you're coming to the end of your sleeve, and we're gonna start the collar or the hood afterwards. So I have completed my sleeve, I've cut my yarn, and I just wanted to show you that those openings are now the same. Okay, and I think it looks lovely, and as you can see, okay, I don't know if that's better, but I do like that. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is to do a collar.